and welcome to another evening of frank conversation here on Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. I'm Maokpe Ogun Yusuf. Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria, is a state that borders Borno, Gombe, and Taraba states. Rich in arable land and diverse mineral resources, it was one of the 3 states affected by the Boko Haram insurgency, which has now been largely surmounted. Its 5 million plus residents are governed by His Excellency Governor Ahmadu Fintiri, who is serving his 2nd term now. He's our guest tonight on Hard Copy. Your Excellency, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you. Okay.
You know, it's still for a number of people, it's very easy to forget that Adamawa State was one of the states affected by the insurgency. Yeah. Your state has come a long way since, you know, it was surmounted at least curtailed to some local government areas in Borno State. Do you still suffer the scars of that insurgency?
Well, so far so good at the moment. We've done a lot of security rejiggling and putting a lot in terms of infrastructure to improve the security of the state. And in the last 5 years, it has been relatively peaceful, calm, and within this period, I think 1 or 2 times we had some attacks where we are still also studying the modus operandi of the insurgents. But since then, I think we've been good. And hitherto, where people have not been farming and cultivating, particularly in the last 3 years, people have gone up about 10, 15 kilometers deep into the Zambeza, where they have initially abandoned their farming activities there to go back.
People are now farming in Zambeza forest?
Yeah.
The people of Adamawa State?
People of Adamawa.
So on the Adamawa side, things are okay?
Things are very okay, particularly on my own local government, Madagali, which is, part of it is cut deep into Zambeza. Gombe, which also cut into the Zambeza. Hong, which also cut into the Zambeza. All these areas people are farming.
Well, some people will argue that, you know, the armed confrontation was a later part of Boko Haram insurgency. The driving force, the belief, you know, that Western education is prohibited. It was an ideology, and it's something that gained ground amongst young people who were not educated, who were not in schools, and who had become radicalized. Is there anything you're doing deliberately to remove that sort of thinking, or to, you know, enlighten people more that this sort of thinking is not the way to go?
Adamawa State is above board when you talk about education in this country. In the 3 subsequent NECO results in this country, 2023, 2024, we have always come second behind Abia. So Adamawa is in the forefront of education. Even the girl child education is not backward in Adamawa. So I won't associate Adamawa crime to not going to school, to the Almajiri issue, and the rest of it. Yes,
that's not really a challenge.
We have redundant youths that don't have job to do, but still government is doing her best to create entrepreneurship and other skills for them so that they can be engaged. But to say in Adamawa that our youths were in Boko Haram because of Almajiri activities or not going to school, I don't subscribe to that. That is not correct.
Well, I'm looking at the budget for this year, that's for 2024, and it does look like, yes, you have allocated something very substantial to education, 48 billion.
Well, since we came in 2019, we made education our priority and security because we believe this is the driving force. You cannot build your future if your youths are not well educated. We have seen the bad shape our education system has gone into. Like I just said, when we came, we were almost coming 33, 34 in the position of WAEC and NECO in the country. And we sat down, we evaluated the whole system. We saw that, one, there were no qualified teachers recruited. The infrastructures in our schools were bad. And there were no incentives like instructional materials and even free feeding for our youths. And also, having suffered the activities of Boko Haram, we felt even the economic fortunes of our people have gone backward. So we felt for us to make meaningful impact, we have to take over the running of these schools. And so we started, one, by providing instructional materials and teaching materials. We recruited qualified teachers and trained and retrained the existing teachers. We extended the tenure of science, English, and math teachers from retiring at 60 to 65, so that we can still keep the old hands back in the schools. And then...
But the teachers happy about that?
Yeah, they are. And then we also ensured that their promotion was done on time so that they can be encouraged. And then we moved to the infrastructure. We started by 12 legacy schools that we used to have then in Adamawa State, to ensure that we rehabilitate them and expand these schools because of the number of students that have been enrolled now. You know, what we used to have 30 years cannot be the same as what we're having in present times.
It's a good thing you're saying this to me ahead of the Girl-Child Education Day. I think that is all already upon us. So it's a good thing to hear that you're doing something in that regard. But you have been quite vocal about national issues. You haven't been quiet about a number of national issues. Only recently, your Attorney General led a number of other Attorneys General to the Supreme Court over issues that had to do with the Federation account.
Yeah.
You seem dissatisfied. Is that matter still in court?
Yeah, still in court. It has not been fixed for hearing at the Supreme Court.
It has not been fixed for hearing. What precisely are you asking for?
We want Section 162, subsection 123 to be interpreted. Monies are collected on behalf of the Federation, but is shared at discretion of others, which we felt is wrong.
How do you mean?
If you collect money, the provision said you share to the 3 tiers of government as per the percentage agreed in the Constitution. 52%, 26%, 18%.
That is not being followed?
That has not been followed. You have seen several times where even your members that goes to attend FAC, 2.4, 2.5 trillion will be collected. What you see being shared to all the 3 tiers of government is 1.260. So have you asked the question, where has the rest gone to? So, and if we want our democracy to work, if we want to deepen the democracy and our constitution, I think all our laws have to be followed.
Have you asked this question?
And we're asking who has the right to deduct, to decide as to what should be shared, apart from what the Constitution has said.
Have you asked this question at NEC?
Severally.
The National Economic
Severally.
Council. What's the response you get?
Nobody seems to commit himself to the question. And I think the right place and the only place to go is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court has, been inundated in recent times. I mean, the issue of local government autonomy, which you have also referred to, has come before the Supreme Court. They have ruled in favor of local government financial autonomy. And we hear that a number of states are trying to be smart by half in trying to circumvent what the Supreme Court has said. I think only a few days ago, the Senate of Nigeria, intervened on that matter, asking states to comply. Is your state one of those trying to circumvent or disagreeing with the Supreme Court order on financial autonomy for local governments?
I think the Senate is just trying to overheat the system.
Are they?
By trying to make themselves relevant in the present circumstances of hardship instead of them to face their job and address issues that concern the ordinary citizen.
Why do you say so?
The issue of electricity tariff, the virus taxes that they're about to introduce now that is before them, the issue of oil subsidy. They are busy talking about autonomy that has already been ruled by the Supreme Court. And nobody is against that. We're all happy to have received that. For me, I think I'm even though it has come with its own excitement, the ruling, but I think I'm 5 years ahead of that judgment. Since I came, I've been doing autonomy for my local government, and I've been publishing their money that goes to them every month on newspapers. So I think for them to come out yesterday to be debating that the states are trying to circumvent the system, how? Are we the ones sharing the money? Are we the Accountant General of the Federation that post money to the local government accounts, and we have stopped her from doing her job? So where are they coming from?
Have you seen what is happening in a number of states? You know, one of them is Anambra State. The other is the state of your dear friend, Governor Makinde of Oyo State, who says that no one can come and dictate to them what should happen in Oyo State. What
Makinde said is that they have pulled out of Algon. He did not say he is not respecting the Supreme Court judgment. What
does that imply? Why are they pulling out of Algon? If they are happy with the judgment?
It's a voluntary association. I can decide today not to be a member of NGF.
Yes, but why would that come from the governor? Why shouldn't it come from the local government
It came from them. It came from them.
Just re-echoed by the governor?
Yes. So if his local government wanted something and they asked him, this is what we want, what is wrong in him occurring more further for the public to know? Talking about Anambra and saying that states are stopping local government from getting their direct funds as ruled by the Supreme Court.
They said a number of states are trying to circumvent it. A number of states are not happy.
But if the local government also so decide, this is their money. Who is dictating to the federal government how they spend their money? Who is dictating to the National Assembly how they expend their subvention? If the local government so decide that we have a joint project that we want to do collectively, and they have budgeted for it, and they move this money into a consolidated account, what is wrong in that?
Okay,
yes.
So let's move on now. I mean, you have said you are complying with what the Supreme Court has said, and you're going with it 100%. Are you one of the states also joining those who are questioning the existence of the laws setting up the EFCC?
As at yesterday, I'm not.
Do you intend to join them?
I'm still going through it with my Attorney General. If they need be, I will join. But at the moment, I'm not.
You don't see the need now?
Well, I was not aware when they went to court. Now that I'm aware, I will look at the documents. I will look at the issues involved. But for me, it's not the right time that we should kill the Economic Crime Commission, whether it has come wrongly or rightly. At least the only thing is we need to strengthen it. We need to make it work better. We need to remove the politics within it, that sometimes some people cry that they are being witch hunted instead of going for the real issue. But on the aspect that I have had the Attorney General of Oyo speaking after the court session, where he is complaining that even where money under the federation, which we are practicing in Nigeria, money are shared between the three arms of government, federal, state, and local government. And then this federal government takes it upon themselves to go and ask questions as to how the states and the local government are spending their own money. And even where it is misappropriated, assuming, and monies are recovered, the federal government takes it into their own treasury. I think it is a wrong practice, and we should discontinue that.
So let's talk about an issue which you say that the Senate should have busied itself with, which is this issue of the fallout from the removal of petroleum subsidies. Only recently, the NNPC stepped out that it's no longer going to be the middleman. So right now, they're saying we're entering a full deregulation regime in whereby citizens are going to be paying the full price of PMS. And this is, I mean, from what we have seen so far, there's already been hardship, even when we're not paying the full price. As a result of the floating of FX, things went a bit awry, and it was seen that the federal government had to stand in the gap briefly. But I'm just wondering, because people say that, oh, state governments can do a lot more to ease the burden on their own citizens. Is this something that you agree with?
Yeah, quite true.
So you think that state governors can do a lot more?
A lot more.
What do you think they could be doing differently?
We need to invest and subsidize education. We need to invest and subsidize healthcare. We need to subsidize agriculture, and we need to subsidize transportation. If we do these four, and we improve on the welfare of the citizens, we pay salaries as at when due, I think this will douse tension at the state level. And we equally, like I said earlier, we need to invest heavily in security, because with this, if people still can't go to farm, at the end of the day, they don't have the wherewithal to make their ends meet. Definitely, there will be hardship.
So
I am not against the policy of removal of subsidy, but I am saying the federal government should moderate the hardship. They have a lot of role to play. All over the world, people moderate hardships of our citizens. They have to bring some sort of subsidy indirectly. We are talking about CNG. We are talking about this. A lot of noise about it. Well, we have not laid the infrastructure for the takeoff of these CNG vehicles. Assuming today, Mope, they give you a CNG vehicle. Where is the gas station? Even in Abuja, in a city like Abuja, in a city like Lagos. So where should we be jumping gun ahead of our policies? If we are doing our policy, let's do it systematically the way it will work well for our citizens.
On the one hand, you agree with the removal of subsidy.
Yes, I agree.
On the other hand, you think that
the infrastructures are not in place. We're in a hurry to put them in place. There's nothing wrong in that. We wouldn't have moved forward. This is what has killed this country. Long time, 30, 35 years ago, this subsidy should have gone and we will have grown with it. After all, nobody is complaining in Cameroon that there's low income, low economy than Nigeria, even when they are buying a liter of petrol above 2,000 naira. Nobody is complaining in Ghana because they've allowed this in their system for long and they've grown with it. But where you allow these prices to be jumping in hundreds and thousands from less than 200 naira to 1,300 naira, how do you expect an average family man to cope with that in this country? It's coming too soon, within the span of 16 months. You are paying from less than 50 naira per kilowatt electricity, you are paying 265 naira to a kilowatt per kilowatt in this country. Now they are introducing taxes. If not because of Nigerian noise, they will have taken VAT to 10%. And this is not too much for us to chew at the same time. Are you happy, if I may ask you?
I'm just wondering, when you look at what state governors can be doing, would you say that yourself and your brother governors are doing a lot more, are doing enough, you know, based on the capacity? Because we understand that as a result of the fuel subsidy removal, a lot more is accruing to states by way of revenue to be able to do much more for their citizens.
With less value. If I was collecting 6 billion in Buhari's regime, and today I'm collecting 9 billion, by your own calculation of the naira value, have I gained anything? Of course, no. If I was collecting 6 billion in Buhari's regime, that translates to more than $15 million. Today, if I'm collecting 9 billion, is less than 5 billion. I mean, less than $5 million. So who has gained? Where have we gained?
What do you also say to the accusation that it is governors who are actually putting pressure on the dollar?
How will they do that? With the transparency in the budgeting system, with the SIFTAS program that has improved on the coding of our budget, that every item have to go according to law. How will a governor take money? How will a governor dip money, I mean, into the coffers of the state and then take it to the Bureau de Change? How will that happen?
Well, you have heard the accusation before.
I think there is more corruption at the federal level than the state. I think that should be answered.
No, I'm just saying that you've heard that you're not stranger to the accusation.
If you are taking 52% of the budget and you did not use that to devalue the naira, and you're accusing the person who is collecting 26% to be the one devaluing the naira, I don't think this is an argument that can be agreed by anybody. And let me tell you, in the federal budget, every item is tied to an individual. Every item in the federal budget is tied to an individual. That is not the same in the state. Every item in our budget is tied to a community. So how will you steal money at the state level that they are not stealing at the federal level to make the naira devalue?
So you reject those accusations?
Completely.
Let's talk a bit about our democracy. You have been involved very strongly. I mean, last elections, your state was one of the states where we saw an example of what shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And recently you were involved in the Edo elections. You led the team of PDP governors to Edo State, and it was quite controversial. You were accused of reeling out figures. You know, these were accusations which you denied very vehemently. And shortly after the elections, you released a statement on your Twitter handle saying our democracy indeed is under attack. We must condemn this rape of democracy and demand accountability. The world is watching. Nigeria deserves better. These were things that you said.
Words.
Yeah, you said on your Twitter handle. And interestingly, there were responses. I mean, I read some of the responses to that particular tweet which you put out. Those who also felt that, you know, whilst, you know, what happened in Edo was less than stellar, as supported by a number of CSOs, they felt that governors have also had their way for too long with what they also did in the local government election. So when we talk about democracy, is it only when INEC conducts elections that we should talk about it?
What I saw in Edo, like you said, is terrible.
What was terrible about it? Because
it did not reflect what the people wanted. I was in charge of the Situation Room. This is a technology-driven process, which INEC made us to believe. And they were supposed to be posting this result to the RF, and which anybody all over the world is open to see and download. As at 9 p.m., 98% of the result was on RF.
98%?
98%. And PDP were leading. As at 11 o'clock, they have already collected and announced results in 12 local governments. By 1 o'clock, the REC asked that the 3 local governments within the metropolitan should stop collection and bring it for him to the headquarters. Is that his job? Is that his responsibility? Has he been empowered by any of our law to do that duty?
So the process was truncated?
Completely. And we decided to tell the world that, okay, INEC, suspecting what you have started doing from 1 p.m. last night, you are likely to do the wrong thing. We are suspecting you. We are seeing that you will go the route of Adamawa, and coming with that experience, I tried to put a stop to it so that I can draw a line by reiterating what they have already said. I did not do anything new.
What they have already said?
At the local government.
Or what was on the...
No, what was on the RF and what they have collected and announced at those local government is there in my text.
You decided to amplify it?
Yes, that's all.
It'll be interesting to see how things eventually pan out in our country, Nigeria. I think at the end of the day, what citizens are really looking for is how all of this politicking will translate to a betterment of their lives. For the people of Adamawa State, what do you think they can look forward to in the next 3 years that you occupy the seat as governor of that state?
In the next 3 years, I will ensure that I build the state better. We are targeting to raise our IGR in the agricultural sector, especially leveraging on cattle. And it's already paying off. It has risen our IGR from less than 250 million when we came to close to 1.5 billion.
So you think you have the solution to this farmer-herdsman conflict?
We already have. Have you had it any longer in Adamawa State? People are living in the same community and no issues. Yes, they are small, that we are still trying to find solutions to them. But that has gone down completely, less than 1%. So we're doing a lot. But I assure you, by the time, Adamawa have never seen it good the way they have seen it in the last 5 years. And they will see it better in the next 2.5 years.
Your Excellency, Governor Fintiri, thank you so much for coming on Hard Copy. We certainly will be keeping up with you as the years progress.
Thank you.
Well, that's the program tonight, but we always want to hear from you. Do share your thoughts with us using the handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Good night.